I eat food out of my garden the whole year. People come to me, what do you eat in the wintertime? I look at them, answer your own question, what animals eat in the wintertime? Because everything in nature is growing fine in the winter. Excuse me? You see, this is an insulator. This insulates the ground. And all winter long, I have live food in my garden. I have for greens, cilantro, parsley, lacinato kale, Russian kale, live fresh greens all winter. I have root vegetables, beets, carrots, rutabagas, all winter long. And what's so hilarious in the winter, I had this organic farmer. It was so scary. I mean, I was blown away. An organic farmer from Ontario, Canada, comes here in January. He's out in my garden, and he looks at my carrots and says, "Oh, you can't eat those now." I says, "Yeah, I can't eat them. I eat them every day." I says, "Pull one for eat it." So you can't pull it because because it's big. Pull it up. So he bends over and he braces something. He almost fell over because it came out so easy. He looks at it. He's flipping out. He says, "Look at this thing." He says, "Eat it." He says, "I never in my life had a carrot this sweet." Because you see, in the wintertime, when the ground freezes, the sugar content comes up, and so your carrots in the winter are so much sweeter than the summer ones. And you know who thought this up? God knew there wouldn't be a lot in the winter, so he just makes them sweeter. I'm just telling you, if we just connect, it's so awesome, his goodness. And his design is so perfect. And see, all these colored things, the seasons are so critical. Things, you should only eat food fresh in season. Only. Did you hear me? Can I tell you something? You guys, all of you are pretty affluent, well off. You live the most boring, funky life on the planet. Excuse me? You all buy the same garbage from the stores, dead food, and then you bring it home and put it in your refrigerator and let it die further, and then you cook it and kill all the enzymes. And you eat the same junk every week, year-round. Go buy the same stuff all the time. I go out here in the spring and my strawberries are coming out in April, and I have several handfuls, and I just can't believe the flavor. I'm just like, wow. Just as I'm getting used to those strawberries, my raspberries come in. Like, wow, this is a whole other element. Like, whoa. Just as I'm getting used to those, the blueberries happen, then the plums, then the pears, then the apples, and then next year, it does it again. So all year long, I have these incredible, awesome flavors and just incredible joy of eating. I never go to the house. I don't use any silverware. I have no dishes to wash. I'm telling you, man, it's just, and I'm starting to get, this is how we're supposed to live. This covering is so incredible, the design. It's just like, awesome. And here we, as intelligent human beings, go to school and read books and don't get it. Rip it off, till the ground, do all this stuff, and go backwards, and never get it when it's all out there in front of us just to observe and get. It's just, I mean, it's so cool. Dirt is heavier than wood chips considerably. You pick up both?
Oh, yeah.
When dirt gets dry and the wind blows, what happens to it? It's gone. Wood chips, which are lighter, don't move. Excuse me?
I haven't done.
Water's not a problem. You can't overwater in this.
Yeah.
Everybody listen to me. This is what's so cool about the covering. No matter where you're living, no matter what the water content is, it's not an issue. Just down the road from us, 70 miles, we have a rainforest. The whole rainforest. The whole rainforest gets 14 feet, not 14 inches, 14 feet of annual rainwater. Now, in your mind, picture a pool of water 14 feet deep and dump that on the ground. That's what it'll look like. If you saw my film, those girls that are filming are out in that forest walking on this kind of stuff just like this, and it's not boggy and it's not wet.
Yeah.
Excuse me? I want you to track with me the genius of this creator. This inanimate object has the capacity to displace, to bring to the surface and evaporate 14 feet of annual rainwater. And at my place, when there's no water, it retains it. Excuse me? I mean, I don't know about you, but my brain racks at that. This is an inanimate object. It has no mind. And when there's too much water, it displaces it, wicks it out, and evaporates it. And when there's not enough, it retains it. So when I do potatoes, the farmers will till deep because they have to, because they're planting deep. Then as the potato grows, they have to water because the ground dries out. And then they have to hill dirt over it. And then next year, they got to plant something else because if they plant in the same place, they become scabby and not usable. I've been planting potatoes in the same place now for 26 years, the same potatoes. And my approach is so cool. I get on the ground, and I wish I could do it because it's so fun to watch. I just with my hands, I pull the plant up with my hands. No tool. It's not poking holes in it. Because the ground moves. With my hands, I move the wood chip and take out these gorgeous, clean potatoes. Because they weren't in dirt. They're not dirty. They're clean. And so when I get to the bottom of the hole, I take my very biggest and best potato. Are you hearing me? The biggest and the best, and put it back in the bottom of the hole, and I cover it, and I plant it and harvest the same day.
Just the whole potato.
The whole potato. And here's why. You were told, and he just brought it up, he's saying the whole potato because you were told to cut potatoes and plant small pieces.
And put one eye in.
You know the insanity of that? You see, this is why we were given an owner's manual, and we're not paying attention to it. In the owner's manual, we're told the importance of giving the best back. The Israelites, when they came to Israel, God says, if you'll give me first fruits every year, I'll bless you. It's the same in agriculture. If you put your very biggest and best back, you get more. Do the math. When a potato grows, it grows shoots out from the little eyes that are in it. So the more eyes you have, the more shoots you get. As the potato grows, it's feeding on the potato. So if you put the biggest back, the more eyes, the more you're going to get more back. The math is very simple. But we went to school, and we had our minds erased so we don't think, and we do what we're told. It's insanity. Strawberries are a labor-intensive plant to grow.
Right.
You send these runners out, and when you first plant your bed, they produce well, and then over time they get really dense because they can't. And it's a nightmare to get the old ones out because they're covered by young ones. So you're in there thinning, and it's just a ton of work. So I'm out with God, say, you know, God, you says your yoke is easy, your burden is light. This is not. How would you approach it? He says, every fall, cover the whole strawberry bed with wood chips. Just bury it.
What?
Bury the whole strawberry bed with wood chips. Just cover the whole thing. Bury it. Hide it. And here's the beauty and the genius of God. See, it doesn't take a lot either, because watch this. See how it lays down? It doesn't take much to cover. So when I put the wood chips over this, all these leaves under the wood chips become compost and feed the plants. And here's the genius of God. In the spring, out of the ground, you don't even know it's there anymore, come pushing through the wood chips, totally staggered, just the young, healthy plants. The old ones under the wood chips rot and become compost because they can't push through the wood chips. It's too much work. And if you look at these are all young plants. Now this man, I want you to walk. Just walk on top of my strawberries like they're, just walk on them hard. Step hard. I mean, hard. Go for it. You see, it's hard. He's having no impact. Nothing's getting broken because under the wood chips, it's all buoyant, full of air, and nothing's damaged.
I mean, I'm 6 inches deep right here. It's soft.
Every fall?
Every fall.
Around?
I would do it pretty soon.
Pretty soon. Are these all
I'm leaving this here because it looks so good just for these tours. And I want you to notice over here, you see my strawberries over there? Notice I'm growing strawberries under my trees in shade. The book says plant in full sun.
Right.
Are you starting to get the advantage? You see, all your places that you couldn't use under the wood chips are available. So instead of taking up space, you can grow other stuff. Plant under your tree strawberries. Great ground cover. I have no weeds. I never water. It's always a pleasure to look at. Feeds you well. And you can do it in places where they say you can't.
Do you fully bury them every year?
Every year. And that's why they're all young plants. You see, there's no old ones here. Because the old ones became compost under the wood chips. And I didn't have to thin. I'm thinking it takes 20 minutes compared to hours of thinning.
Where is that documented?
Can I tell you something? You will never find this in a book.
Right.
No human mind will come up with this. This came from the Creator. I asked. And come on, he's just awesome. And he says you have not because you ask not. We don't ask. And we've got to wake up and start doing it. Now, I want you all, any of you here think you have soil that's kind of hard to work with? Hard, compacted clay, difficult soil? I want you to introduce you to my soil over here. Soil that everything you walked on and ate from is growing in. And again, you know, I'm going to break my rake if I try to cultivate this. This is my soil. And everything there, and what I want you to get is that God's not challenged by anything. There's nothing that challenges, and if you put the cover down, everything below it gets changed. I love that.
What did you put, instead of the 4 inches, I really think I might have got more like 6 to 8 inches.
It's fine, but initially you got to pull it back to get to the soil to plant your seeds.
Yeah, it was hard. I bought some supposedly organic seedlings and planted them
I'm glad you. Here's the difficulty about seedlings. Everybody listen to me. This is huge.
Okay.
You've all gone to the store and you look at these gorgeous plants they want to sell you in the spring.
Yeah.
Beautiful, healthy, beautiful, lush. And as soon as you plant them in your garden, and no matter what garden it is, as soon as you plant them, they stand still and go backwards. They don't grow. Here's why. They are grown in sterile environments. Peat moss, vermiculite, perlite is all sterile. Nothing grows in it. And they fed them chemical fertilizers to make them grow. And they had them in a warm, protected place. When they came to the real world, they just stopped. You can take. I've taken those plants and planted a seed next to it and watched the seedling totally pass it up and make it dwarf it, because they were never created.
Do you ever do?
The only thing I start here, because of where I live, I do hot peppers and tomatoes.
Okay.
But I grow them in organic stuff, and before I plant them, for several weeks I bring them out every day and hard them off to the weather so that they're sturdy. See, that stuff's been in a totally protected environment, raised on sterile material, and when it hits the real world, it just stops. And you're wasting your money. Just plant seeds in season, and they'll do fine. And so it's so pathetic, because it looks so nice when you bought it, and it just goes backwards. And so it's very depressing to you as a gardener. Like, what's up with this? You know.